Blog Talk Radio.
Today is Tuesday, May 22nd, 2018, and this is Foxology. I am Silver Ray Fox, your host. Happy Tuesday to all. And, of course, thank you for stopping by to check out the conversation today. It's going to be real good. And if you have been here before, you already know how I do. Yeah, you know it's always good. I am on a mission and on the lookout for any information that will make us wiser, make us smarter, more informed, more empowered, and more better at being who we are. You know, information and knowledge is truly powerful, and you've heard that said before. It really is true, though. Knowledge and information is empowering to you as an individual. Otherwise, you know what can happen? We may be tempted to sway every which way with people's ideas and opinions, especially as much of it is swirling around these days. And that, you know what can happen, can surely land you in a place of not looking so savvy or smart if you haven't done your homework. You know that's the truth. God forbid that should happen. So what I do here is like many other hosts. This is one of the platforms I use to impart great information and insights about stuff that I believe can be very, very valuable to you somehow. And speaking of value, you know, sometimes as individuals, before we reach certain levels of confidence and self-esteem, we may be in a place of low or no self-worth. Yes, it's true. And it's both. You know, it's true for both men and women, and understanding that we are very, very powerful creatures is critical in today's world. My guest today is walking in all kinds of power and authority. She is bold, she's brilliant, she's gifted, she's beautiful, and on a mission to make you more better, too. She is going to chat with me about the endeavors she's whirled and her newest book, Yes, I'm Enough. And I'm so glad to have her back with me today. Welcome back, Tanya White.
Hello, Silver Ray. How are you?
Well, you know I'm awesome.
Awesome.
Going to stay awesome. Going to get more better at being awesome.
I love it. Thank you so much for having me back. I love your show, and I just love the intro. You would have made me stand up and sit up just a little bit better.
Well, I hope you stood up and gave yourself some applause.
I did.
You deserve it.
I did.
That's what we do, and I think that your message today with your new book says that so well about how we should feel about ourselves. So I'm really ready to get to that in time, but I want to talk about you first because you truly are a very dynamic individual. You know, like a lot of others I mentioned to you before, we are often, you know, we're trying to be modest and all of that, and I get it. However, you know, you're doing things out loud, and by that I mean you're making a difference, you're making an impression, you're helping people with their lives, and that is truly an awesome thing to be doing. So I want to start by just talking about you. I'd like to hear a little bit about your background, your backdrop, because typically there are things in life that lead us to such passionate endeavors as you've taken on. So tell us about your growing up, your background, and where all of that led you to.
Oh, I am born and bred in Louisville, Kentucky. We are known for the Kentucky Derby and U of L basketball, which has had kind of a negative connotation this year, but we still love our cards. I have been writing since for about 13 years, and I started writing after my mom died of lung cancer. After 5 months of battling that, went through a whole lot. We didn't even know she had cancer. But 5 months in the hospital, it was a quick awakening of how precious life is, and especially when you lose your mom, you lose the person who gave you life. So it's like life is sucked out of you. So my dad had died in '96, and Mom was there to help get us through. But when she died, it was like, who do we have? And so I've always loved to write, even from a little girl. And so I found therapy, solace, peace, healing, deliverance through writing about certain things. And it started out really as a newsletter, an e-newsletter. I was coaching with the dynamic Valerie Burton, and she helped me birth as a writer. And then I wanted to write a book, and from there, 6 books later, I'm still loving writing. So writing, I've always loved it, but it was actually birthed through my pain of losing my mom, and then cultivated through me getting a coach and really becoming confident as a writer and learning the craft. So I've been doing that for 6 books and hundreds of newsletters and other publications later.
Can you tell us, since you did mention that, and there are so many of us who understand the tragedy of losing parents at a young age, can you tell us about how that felt like therapy to you? Did you know that at that time once you began writing that it was going to be kind of cathartic process for you? Did you know that, or did you find yourself healing through it?
No, I knew that I wanted to write about it because I was 35 when my mom died, so still kind of young, but old enough to know the impact. Impact of losing a parent and a mom is that, and the way it happened was so devastating and quick, and I felt like I was losing my mind because I had to get everything in order. I'm the oldest, so everyone relied on me, oldest of 3. And my mom had 4 sisters at the time, and it was all so tragic for us. So everybody was going through their own emotions. But like I said, my mom was usually the one to help us through. And so when I found myself being the only one to rely on at that time that I thought, writing became my outlet. And as I wrote and people start reading and start giving me feedback and connecting with me, I found out that I was not the only one who was dealing with loss of a parent, loss of just going through grief and other feelings that I would write about. So I knew that I wanted to write a book, but I didn't know how far it was going to lead me into this craft of writing and what I do now. And so, yes, that tragedy, I say, birthed my destiny and what God wanted me to do, because I now understand that's what He always wanted me to do, is to write and empower and inspire people. So, and that's what my mom taught me. That's what my dad taught me. Everybody was always over our house when growing up, and at church, everybody gravitated towards my parents, kids, everybody. So I know what's in me now is coming out is a result of my parents, and even though it was tragic the way I got started writing, I know it was always in me, and that's the way God birthed it out.
Absolutely. Why don't you go over those books before we go into talking about your most recent message? Just kind of let people know topically the titles and what they're about, because I know just looking through them, your mission is to offer strength and empowerment with each book, but let's just tap on those a little bit, and then let's talk about this newest one.
Okay. My absolute first book that I published in 2007 was How to Deal with a Difficult Woman, and that people think, oh, that's about somebody else. That book is about me, because what I found was people. I was difficult at that time, and like I said, I lost my parents were gone, so. When your parents are gone, they really define who you are. And so when you're trying to go through a redefinement of who you are, you try to let go of who people said you were and try to find out who you are. And so I was difficult. I admit that. I'm one of truth. That's what the T stands for in Tanya. So I wrote about that. It's like 52 profiles of people, and each one I've been. and still am in some cases. And so instead of people say, oh, I don't want to deal with difficult people. Well, that's not life, because what if that difficult person is your spouse? What you going to do, not talk to them? What if that difficult person is your child, a family member, your boss? You have to deal with difficult people. And so I wrote that, giving an overview that, first of all, hurting people hurt people, and this is how you deal with the hurt. My second book was Relationship Reruns, How to Break the Cycle of Choosing the Wrong Person for the Right Relationship. That was healing for me as I was still on a journey of rediscovery and dealing with all types of relationship, romantic, friendship, business. When you don't know who you are and you do not set boundaries, you just allow any type of person in there in your life, and then you go through some heartbreak and some tragedy and some things, betrayal. But if you set those boundaries and know who you are and know the signs of people who you are not supposed to be connected with, life gets a little bit better. But it takes strength to know and set boundaries and say, you know what, these are my expectations, these are my boundaries, and if you continue to cross them, these are the consequences. But sometimes men and women alike, we get caught up in saying, this, it's not good for us to be alone. We're social creatures, and we think that we need to just settle for any type of behavior from anybody. That is not healthy, and that is not what God wants us to do. So that book was healing for me, just dealing with how to break that cycle of choosing the wrong person for the right relationships. Relationships are right, but sometimes we get out of one relationship, get out of one friendship, and we get back into the same one with a different face. My third book was the sequel to How to Deal with a Difficult Woman, because I bring balance. It was the 99 Males Who Make Your Life a Living Hell. And again, those were profiles of men that I've dealt with, brothers, cousins, bosses, boyfriends, whatever. Like I said, hurting people hurt people, and I'm a school counselor by profession, so I'm always in counseling mode. And so what I discovered, there are certain traits of people and how they interact with other people, and we need to know how to deal with them and why they do certain things. If we know the why of why people act the way we do, we can better handle how to deal with them. Next, it was Girl, You Can Win, the 10 highly successful tips of a winning woman, and that was just for women to know. We cheer everybody else on. You can do this, you can win, but we seldom cheer ourselves on. And that was like in a reflection. I can win. I can do this. I have gifts and talents that people need, and if I pour them out, then I'm winning at what my purpose is and my destiny is. The next book was You Can't Quit Now, How to Keep On Going When You Feel Like Giving Up. And I probably need to read that again because there comes a point in life that you feel like giving up because life burdens you down no matter how strong you are. There are some things and some people that you're like, oh, I'm knocked out and I'm down for the count. But that's all a perseverance type of a book. I wrote it like the Purpose-Driven Life, but I call it the Perseverance-Driven Life. It's 42 daily devotionals and writings and then self-reflection, all for you to keep on persevering. Don't give up no matter how hard it gets. You've got to keep going because somebody is needing you to get where you need to get so they can get where they need to be. And watching you and you actually paving the way for them makes it easier for not only you but people behind you. So those are my first 5 books, and this 6th book is, I think it's one of my favorites.
Well, I tell you, just listening to the, you capsulizing it is that would be enough to put a lot of people into flight mode. That's
yes.
really, really, really awesome stuff. Well, let's talk about Yes, I Am Enough. What happened to get you moving on this message?
Oh, my goodness. This book took me 2 years to go. Anything I write, it's life experiences I go through. So anything I can't write it unless I go through it. So at the time I was, like I said, I'm a school counselor, and I just finished going to school to become a principal. That time, whenever you go higher and higher in life, there are certain things that try to stop you. And professionally, socially, there were people who were demonically assigned and trying to get me off of what I know I'm supposed to do. So I kept hearing messages, you're not enough, you're not capable enough, you're not doing this, you're not doing that, and you're not this, you're not that. I went through a breakup at the time, so I didn't feel good enough. I didn't feel pretty enough for him. I didn't feel, woman enough to be what he wanted me to be, not knowing that I am enough just the way I am. Not saying I don't have flaws. We all do. But Tanya Renee White, from top to bottom, is enough. My brown skin, my full-figured body, the way I think, the way I speak, the way I interact, everything I do, I am enough. There's nothing less about me. I was born enough. I was built enough. My parents created a nurturing environment for me to fulfill everything that I needed to fulfill. So when people come to me and try to get me off focus or try to tear me down, bruise my spirit, and break it sometimes, I had to go to these 4 words. Yes, I am enough. I'm enough to do everything that I'm capable and destined to do. And I had to tell myself that because when I was getting towards the end of my principal program and taking the test, that's when even the professional attacks became even greater. Just things out of nowhere that were not true. People was trying to, attack me professionally, and it was not true. So I had to stand flat-footed on what I knew, and these 4 words became my daily mantra. Yes, I am enough. I don't care what you think. I don't care what you try to do. I am enough, whether you want to realize it or not. So I came up with this, the 10 undeniable truths of loving who you are now. And I'm going to love who I'm destined to become later, because I'm not going to stay the Tanya I am now. I'm just going to get better. So I'm going to love who I am now, love who I was, and love who I am going to be.
Let me ask you a question, Tanya, because it's so true that, and it's a hard truth to know that people really will try to make you feel like you're not enough in one way or another, personally, professionally, and any other way they can. It's unfortunate. And there are a lot of people who buy that as their truth, that they're not, because they don't have things a certain kind of way, or they don't have a degree, or they don't have a professional savvy, or whatever the case may be, or there's a myriad of reasons that people will buy into that message. And what would you suggest out of your knowledge and of what you've written and dealing with people? What would you say to the person who has bought the lie and really needs to unveil that truth that they really are enough?
Yes, the first and major thing, you got to remember who you are and find these traits about yourself that not only you love but draw people to you. We all draw people to it, and I talk about that in the book, that we're all magnetically phenomenal. There's a certain draw that we have to certain people that make them feel that they're phenomenal, they're wonderful, that they can do that. And we all have that ability. So draw on that. Then also consider the source of where it's coming from. There's a difference between constructive correction, as I say, and negative criticism. Anybody who is constantly negatively criticizing you, they're not trying to push you forward. They're trying to push you down, further down. So you have to consider the source. And then listen to, even if they're trying to do something constructive, consider the spirit that they're coming from, the tone of voice, and the totality of the situation. Maybe you have to look at everything from a perspective. But even in that, even in the negative, you have to pull out, yes, I am enough. I respect your opinion. I may not agree with it, but I am enough. I'm enough because, like I said, I was built, born, and I am enough to not only myself, but to God and to those who truly know and love me. And that's what we got to rest on. There are people who truly know and love us, and whether we're wrong sometimes, whether we make a mistake, they know who we are, and they know that we're enough just the way we are. And that's what true love is.
Well, it's
unconditional love.
It's a tough paradigm to break. That's why I asked you that question, because it really is a tough paradigm when you're very often people are around people who feel a similar way until they get the epiphany that I think I am enough. Let me find out how I
you're so right, Civil Ray.
Break the mold. Yes.
And that's where you have to break that mold. You got to break out of your comfort zone. One thing that I did, and my parents instilled in me, is to go venture out, go visit places that you never have, be around people who you don't know, because being around new things, you get a new perspective. Because if you're around the same old type of people say if you look around and everybody's doing the same thing as you and everybody's on the same level and have not moved, you're probably in the wrong crew. Your crew needs to be progressing, maybe not at the same rate, but people who you're around need to be making progress. And so if you look around and nobody's making progress or everybody has the same mindset as you, you're going to be stagnant and stunt your growth. So you have to venture out. You've got to. For me, I had to find the courage to go to, events and reach out to people I didn't know to help me get to where I deeply desired to go. And those around me didn't understand it because they never been there before either. And so when I started venturing out, I got me a life coach. I started consulting with other people who were doing the same thing that I was, and I listened. And I visited different cities and went to different events. My mindset started to change, and I started to get confident in who I was and what I was destined to do. So you've got to break out of that mode. You can't continue to be around in the same old comfort zone, as you're going to stagnate yourself and stunt your growth.
Yes. Why don't you share a couple of your undeniable truths with us as we get to a point where we start to wind down? Or wind up, I should say.
Yes. So in the book is 10 Undeniable Truths. And the first one that I would like to share, and this is one that I find as being a counselor, kids even do it, and I say nurturing your needs before nurturing the needs of others is not selfish, but it's self-love. We must take care of ourselves first. We've got this thing twisted. We're pour out, especially women, pour out, deposit, encourage, pray for, give resources to everyone else to make everyone else's dream come true, but we seldom invest in ourselves. You have to be selfish enough to have that self-love so you can pour back into people, because if you deplete yourself, what are you giving other people? Depletion. Can't do it. You've got to love yourself first, and loving yourself first is not selfish, it's self-love. I also say elevate your circle of influence. Elevate your circle. If you're the smartest person in your circle, you need to expand your circle. And this is the last one I'm going to share because I want y'all to get the book. Never allow your issues to become your identity. We all have issues, but if we sit in our issues and never try to heal and break free from it, it will become our identity. So we'll start identifying ourselves. For me it was, I'm overweight. I'm not smart enough, or I don't have this degree. Stop identifying yourself with issues, and you're making your identity your issues, because you're not your issues. You have them, but you're not them. And so just a few truths that I elaborate on in my 6th book, Yes, I Am Enough, that is available on Amazon and TanyaWhite.com.
Well, I'm glad you went ahead and mentioned how they can get the book. I'm thinking again. I'm always trying to put myself in two positions. Well, I do put myself in one position for sure as the host, but I also, of course, want to put myself in the position of a listener. Yes. And the last thing I'd like you to address is this before we rewrap. To let them know that this is a life work, and there's a beginning that they have to take in order to, again, break down that paradigm, break out of the mold, maybe break away from people, but it's not something that happens overnight. There is some work involved. So speak to that before we wrap.
Yes, it is not immediate. no matter how much you pray and get information, it is never going to be immediate. It is a lifelong journey. And so once you deal with the truth of, hey, I think that I'm less than, I think I'm not enough, and realize that you are, you will start making the steps to do that. First of all, you have to speak to yourself. Second, speak to people who nurture your enoughness, I call it. They have to say, yes, you are enough, and not just nurture it with words, but nurture it with actions. And, we all have a circle of influence. So say if you're trying to start a business, we all know people who, have businesses. Connect people. That's how you know that you're enough, when you can share and expand your connections that you have without being jealous or insecure. And, hey, this person may, supersede me. It's okay. We all going to go at different levels. So speak to yourself, speak to other people, and then pour back into people who don't think they're enough. Once you get that rise, hey, I'm enough, go. It's always going to be somebody around you who feels less than. Pour into them, encourage them, inspire them. Hey, if you think you're enough, remember, yes, I am enough. And tell them how you started to begin rethinking and rediscovering who you are and motivating yourself to believe that you are enough and you are capable, lovable. Any enoughness that you think you're not, you are.
That's for sure. I want to just share a quick story about my own walking into enoughness. I remember it really well. I was in my late teens when I took it upon myself to go and get some professional training in personal development and all that wonderful stuff. And what was interesting, I loved it because it was really getting wings. And the interesting thing that happened, though, is that all of my girlfriends kind of turned on me at that time, and they said to me that you think you're better than us now, and I didn't. I thought I was better now for sure. That was real to me. I knew I was better because I was growing and developing, and it was wonderful and it was exciting. But I was so hurt about losing my friends and their opinions of what they thought they saw, because they preferred for me to be in the other mode. And I tell you, once I got those wings, I was just on my way to a whole other level and place in life. But what happened, I was fortunate enough to be surrounded with some empowering people and women, and I cried, just really cried to this one mentor and told her how hurt I felt about these friends turning their backs on me. And she just kind of patted me on the back just confidently and looked at me and said, "You'll have new friends. Watch." And that was it. I was okay after that moment because I was in a place where I trusted this empowerment that was being given to me, and I just had to shut that down and keep it stepping. But I said that to say to other people, you have to make some hard choices to find out that you're enough. That was my first experience with it, and I've had to make many as I've gone on with
and that's
my
a part
journey.
of it. That's a part of it. You're going to lose some people, and that's okay.
Yeah, for sure. But I want to thank you. I'm glad we didn't lose touch, lady, for sure. I'm so glad that you were here today to share about your book. And just tell people one more time the couple of places that they can find your book.
You can get it on Amazon.com, and you can also go directly to my site, Tanya White, and Tanya is Tanya, White is in the color.com, and you can order. We got Yes I Am Enough T-shirts, Built God Enough T-shirts, and we have some coaching. Everything's on there. Just visit my site, get your book, and I'll sign it and put a little description in it. But thank you, Silver Ray.
Well,
I had a wonderful time as always.
You too, lady. You be blessed, stay blessed, and I look forward to staying in touch with you. You have an amazing day, okay?
Okay, you too. Bye-bye.
All right, thank you. And you too as well. Thank you for tuning in today, and I hope you were able to get some wonderful takeaways. What a guest. Check out www.tanyawhite.com. In the meantime, I want you to have a great day too. Be good, be blessed, be awesome.